Welcome to a new video and a new news flash from the 31st of July 2022. And yeah, I'm in a park here in Cologne and I'm enjoying the sun and filming with my Xperia 1 Mark IV, and this time 1080p 30 frames per second, so maybe, and you can see some birds flying around and making noises, maybe this one will not overheat, hopefully. Anyway, we have the topics of this week. So Asus released a new Zenfone, the Zenfone 9, that follows the Zenfone 8, not the Zenfone 8 Flip or the Flip in general. So they are releasing a pretty interesting, I think, device for all those people who are waiting for the Xperia 5 Mark IV, because this device is even a little bit smaller in terms of height, at least 5.9-inch screen, so a tiny little bit smaller of a screen than the Xperia 5. And we also have almost everything that you need as a Sony user as well. Headphone jack with, I think they even have a dedicated DAC. I'm not so sure about this, but they have a headphone jack with pretty good EQ settings and so on. So the same as the Sony Xperia offers. They have a pretty good front camera in this case as well, 12 megapixels, which can also record in 4K and has autofocus, which is pretty interesting. And I think the main highlight is the main back camera. It's a Sony IMX766, but 50 megapixels and mounted on a small little gimbal. Yes, it's a gimbal camera, and it's not like the gimbal cameras that you know from Vivo that have like 5-axis stabilization, which usually is like we have like 2-axis stabilization in the lens and then a third where the sensor is shifting around a bit. They have 6-axis, which is basically the Sony Boss system that you might know from the FDR X3000 and other Sony camcorders. They have this Boss system where everything is like going everywhere basically, which is a pretty good and interesting idea, I would say. And this makes the lens a little bit larger on this smallish kind of device, but it would be super interesting to try it out. And probably this is the vlogging camera's dream if you want to vlog with the rear camera. And of course it has also an ultra wide angle. It's a bit of a weaker, I think 13 or 12 megapixels as well, ultra wide angle, but yeah, anyway, you have an ultra wide angle with autofocus, which can also produce macro shots. So this sounds almost like a dream. Headphone jack, check. Good display, 120 Hz refresh rate, check. They have a cool camera system, check. Also with Pro mode, check. So what is missing? Micro SD card support. So what you get out of the box in the lowest configuration is 8 GB and 128 GB of RAM and 128 GB of ROM, so internal space, which might be not enough for people who are recording a lot of video. But this is the only downside I can find on the Zenfone 9 so far. Software support maybe as well, but if you're coming from an Xperia device, it's basically the same. 2 years of Android software updates and maybe a third year then of security updates. I think Sony is claiming 4 years of the security update, I'm not sure. Anyway, this is the Zenfone 9. Pretty interesting phone, and I pre-ordered it. Not only because I want to test it out with the cool gimbal system. I never had an Asus phone. I sponsored an Asus phone for a Safe project once, but I never had an Asus phone myself. So I thought this time around I will get one just to try it out and to see if this might be more interesting than waiting for the Xperia 5 Mark IV. So what do you think about the Zenfone 9? Write it down in the comment section, and yeah, I will check it out as soon as it arrives. I think in 1 or 2 weeks it will arrive. And then maybe also with pre-order bundle, I think there's a laptop coming with Chrome OS, which might be very interesting to check out as well. After I think years ago I checked Chrome OS, and yeah, this time around might be interesting to see what changed on Chrome OS. So this is the Zenfone 9. So now let's talk about another topic that might be very interesting, the Huawei Matebook E. I have it already since a few months, but I never came to trying Linux on it. I tried a bit of booting here and there, but never tried out Linux on it. And one of the reasons was it's not booting by default. I figured out now why it's not booting by default, and I'm configuring now my live system to run in this case on the Matebook E as best as it can on this device. And I think I'm very close to releasing something, and I will probably also do a video because no one else has done a video on how to get the Matebook E running on Linux. And as it basically almost like 99% everything is supported on it, maybe the sound, there's a bit flaky things going on. I would really like to do a video about this, show you how this will work out. So the Matebook E will be one of the next videos I will probably do, one of the projects I will do. One interesting thing or fact that I learned is that I'm not the only one having the issue with the Matebook E and its graphics, the GPU Intel integrated graphics. If you have this issue, if you figured out something, if you have some clues on how to fix audio eventually, write it down in the comment section. Would be very interesting to know. Otherwise, yeah, what about videos? Videos are incoming actually. Actually, I have a video incoming, lots and lots of videos. I promised already doing earlier about the Xperia 10 Mark IV, and yeah, there will be a video coming out with the camera review. I made a tips and tricks video about this device. I think it came out yesterday. And I optimize it a little bit. So what you have to do is the speed tip especially, but you have to force the MS4AA option in the developer options and the HW overlays. You have to turn this off, so then the device runs much more smooth and is much better. Not sure if you can see this here. These are the options that I usually tend to do on the 10 Mark IV, and this one makes it a lot smoother. The whole experience is a lot smoother. Then you can also play around with the animation speed and so on if you like to, but yeah, the default one is good enough already, I would say. And yeah, this is a pretty interesting thing. Then I also checked the 10 Mark IV against the iPhone XS. Yeah, it's a 4-year-old device, but I wanted to try it out. Can this mid-ranger from 2022 beat a flagship from 2018? Yeah, it is. And yeah, spoiler alert, yes, it can beat it in terms of camera in certain situations. You will see it in the video. And yeah, I was pretty surprised by this. I was pretty surprised by the relatively good camera quality of the 10 Mark IV, except the ultra wide angle. The ultra wide angle is yeah, underperforming, I would say, for this price range. But I think the main and the zoom lens are pretty good, and I really like them. And maybe I turn around, you can see the nice skyline of Cologne here in the background. Anyway, this is about this. So the 10 Mark IV will get a video, and there will also be some other videos incoming as well. I'm working on my Linux distribution Neptune. Maybe I would bring out some kind of video in collaboration with the Matebook E video that I was talking about, that I probably want to make at one point, and maybe bring out an image that can be directly booted up on the Matebook E, so those Linux lovers that want to use Linux on the Matebook E can use my Linux distribution Neptune on it and have like fun using it. Otherwise, yeah, these are probably all videos. There's like a mystery device coming, as I told you. Did not arrive this week. It will arrive maybe next week, maybe a week later. Also, yeah, almost here. Probably also taking a little bit longer, like end of August or something like. This is the Xiaomi 12S Ultra. Yes, some people convinced me to try it out because they were leaking a little bit of information about the device, like, yeah, there's a chip inside that might eventually be turned off right now, but it will be turned on later and will improve the camera performance dramatically. And yeah, and the leak now got like public, so it is basically the S1 chip that is built into the Xiaomi 12S Ultra, but it's not used by default because the software is not ready yet. So they are throwing out a phone on the market where the software is not ready. Probably one of the reasons why it's not coming to Europe so quickly. And probably the sensor might come in a different phone. Maybe there will be a 12T Ultra version that will have the chip enabled, the imaging chip enabled, and has the better battery performance eventually, or tweaks of the battery as well. We have to see. We have to see. We really have to see. I'm not so sure about this. But what do you think about the Xiaomi 12S Ultra? I think it's a very interesting device, and it will get better over time for sure, because the sensor is so good, and yeah, I trust this Sony sensor. And I also have a little bit of trust in Xiaomi getting this fixed. They already did this on the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. They also had issues with the Mi 11 Ultra and fixed it then later in post. Basically they fixed it with security and software updates, and step by step reaching the point where it was a very good camera. Still is a very good camera. I'm interested, and will do of course a comparison with the Xperia Pro I that I have here somewhere in my pocket. Also the Honor Magic 4 Ultimate, so it would be, yeah, camera comparison glory, I would say. Then there's another announcement I can make already. IFA 2022. I will be there in Berlin from the 2nd of September, I think, to the 6th or 9th of September, something like this. It starts on the 2nd of September. And there will be also announcements there in regards of smartphones and cameras and so on. And yeah, if you want to meet me up there, I'm there definitely. So that's basically everything for this week, this news week. All the news, all the videos that will be coming. What do you think about this? All you can just write your comments down in the comment section. And that's everything. Until the next time. Bye.